Welcome you. Welcome everyone. It's so great to be here. My name is Raquel DeRoe, and this gathering, this workshop is called Free to Be You. It's uncovering blind spots that hide your authentic expression. And I'm just really excited to be sharing this because I feel like it's a culmination of decades of insights, decades of learning lessons from my own life and learning lessons from those who I've supported and have been able to place it into this workshop that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I also just want to share that by being here, you consent to be recorded. So this is recorded and it's going to go out to others. And so just by being here, you consent to that. And so again, thank you for saying yes to you. Thank you for being here. And I'm just so honored that you gave your most precious resource of time to be here with me. So, with that, I'll go ahead and begin. So, free to be you, uncover blind spots that hide authentic expression. And so, just wanted to go over what we will cover. And so, we will go through a grounding practice, just a short, brief orientation. And I'll share a little bit about me and something that has really helped me in my life and how I orient to life. Then I'll go into what are blind spots, the correlation between basically how blind spots are correlated to the results that we experience in our life or the results that we don't experience in our life, and how to bring awareness to blind spots in order to feel more free to be you. That is what this is all about. All right. And so I just wanted to start by orienting to this truth. I just find within my own journey and within the journey of a lot of people that I support, I find this quite a bit of just this feeling that there is inherently something wrong with them or that they've done something wrong. And the difference is between sort of feeling this feeling of shame and guilt. And Brene Brown did a lot of research on the difference between shame and guilt. And shame is around feeling like there's something wrong, inherently wrong with you, and guilt more comes from feeling like I did something wrong. And so I just wanted to start off by really grounding and feeling into this truth because a lot of times we can know this consciously and like logically, oh yeah, of course, I know that there's nothing wrong with me. But a lot of times it's this like subconscious, unconscious perspective and feeling based on something that has happened. And so let's orient to this. So I just invite you all to close your eyes if that's available to you. If not, just stare at something in front of you, just with a soft gaze. And really, I invite you to really feel into these words with every cell of your being, right? This is a somatic experience. And so is also a way just to orient to this space and being here together today around this topic of free to be you. And so with that, go ahead and close your eyes and just take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, I invite you to arrive here in this moment and grounding into presence. And I truly believe that presence and to be present is one of the greatest gifts. And let yourself just really land in this moment, not to improve it, not to become someone else, just simply being here as you are. Because the truth is, there is nothing to fix, and there's nothing wrong with you, and there never was. And the human experience isn't about becoming more, even if it might feel that way. It's about remembering your brilliance and your uniqueness. It's about returning to what's always been here, returning to your inner brilliance beneath all of the noise and the radiant whole you. And you were learning what it means to be human, and in that learning comes lessons to help you grow and evolve. And just really breathe that in. The relief of remembering and knowing that there's nothing wrong with you. And you may have been taught to hustle for worthiness, to prove your value through doing and productivity and being busy, to tuck away and hide all of the messy parts and the shadows. But I just want to share and say that all of you is welcome here. Even the parts that have been told that you are too much, too quiet, too wild and crazy, too sensitive. And there's no wrong way to be you. And feel what it's like when you let go of fixing yourself, even if it's just for the next hour here together. And for me, it's all about knowing yourself so deeply and intimately that you really fall in love with who you truly are. And because who you are is whole and complete. And feel your system soften, your breath deepen into that, your heart remembering what's it's known all along, that you were never broken. And again, that there is nothing wrong with you. You're unfolding, you are sacred right now, here in this moment. Not once you get there, or once you do this thing or achieve this goal, or have it all figured out. Here in this breath, in this moment, in the body that you're in, you are enough, you matter, you are worthy, you are loved. And just let this knowing really permeate and spread throughout every cell of your being. And let this truth really land. The truth that there is nothing wrong with you, that you are whole, that you are complete, and that you have everything you need within you. And I believe this is the journey home. It's about remembering and connecting to the truth of who you are, and who you are is whole and complete. And so when you feel ready, I invite you to go ahead and open up your eyes. Come back to the room. Give some glances around the room. And we'll begin. Keep going. So about me, I wanted to share first who I'm not, because for me, the journey of really discovering who I was really deepening and bringing awareness to who I'm not. And for me, these sort of these uncoverings of these perspectives that were really running my life and creating a lot of constriction, confinement, sort of suffocation, and powerlessness, was bringing to awareness these blind spots that were running the show. And these are the perspective and the way I was sort of viewing myself in life, that I have no choice, right? And these were all subconscious. These were not necessarily within my conscious awareness until they were brought about to my conscious awareness. And so the next was I'm a disappointment. This was another that was really running the subconscious programming that I was not aware of, which brought about a lot of doing things and behaving in a way to sort of disprove this, what I thought was truth, that I was a disappointment. The next is it's not safe to be me. So this revolved a lot around hiding myself and feeling, honestly, like scared and terrified to speak in public and to be seen and to be heard. And so once I sort of this came to the surface and I really understood a lot of these patterns of terror and fear, I understood where they came from, and it just really helped to integrate and process and become grounded and secure and stable in who I was. The next one was I'm bad. This was a pretty heavy one. and recognizing where that came from. And then it's all up to me, which creates a lot of burden and uh, this inability to receive. And so these are some things that I have sort of uncovered about me along the way and that I have sort of processed and worked through and just helped me recognize then more of leaning into and understanding who I truly am. And so I believe as a soul, we all come here untethered, free, right? And so I am love, I am peace, I am power, I am freedom, I am joy, I am possibility, I am vitality, right? And it's these sort of unconscious programmings that can be developed from past hurt that disconnect us from our truth and our truth of who we truly are. And so for me, how I sort of support and when what I essentially call myself is a life guide and a confidant, guiding the human experience in a soul aligned way. And I do that by guiding you to see your blind spots and break free from what confines you. And I really just act as a mirror for you to see your own brilliance, right? For me, this is such a beautiful metaphor. I have this diamond and I call it the shiny diamond of potential because I truly believe that we are all born with our own unique brilliance and our own unique luminescence, right? And along the way, right, you just even think of a newborn baby, pure potential. It's sort of, we just see the inherent worthiness in the miracle in a newborn baby, right? And then as we grow in age, things happen, right? Life experiences that maybe are really challenging to make sense of, or let's say are just maybe too much too soon, and we're not able to fully process it. And it begins to sort of distort our perspective of self and perspective of the world, and it sort of begins to dim our light, right? It just creates these essentially like covering who we truly are. And we begin to disconnect from who we are and our true brilliance and our true radiance and luminescence, right? And so for me, I truly believe it's recognizing who we're not, right? Removing these layers for us to really truly connect to the truth of who we are and who we are. And that I believe is just the journey of this human experience. And so I act as a mirror because I see everyone as whole and complete, right? It's just certain perspectives that we've adopted that disconnect us from the truth of who we are. And so that's one of the main sort of ways that I support. And I do that through hypnosis and a lot of other tools just to help recognize how our internal world is contributing to our external reality. I'm also certified in Reiki, and then I'm in the process of becoming an emotion code practitioner. And so that is where I will be able to help release trapped emotions through muscle testing. So it's through a different way of communicating with the subconscious mind because I use hypnosis to do that in this relaxed meditative state. And the other way is muscle testing. And I will give you, if you're interested, ways that we can connect if you want to receive more information about how I do that. And what I'm sharing here today is my perspective. It's my truth. It's based on my own lived experience. I'm 45 years old, and so I've had a lot of lived experience in terms of uncovering my own blind spots and how to really move from suffering and confinement and constriction into freedom. And so that is what I want to share here today. And so I just offer take what resonates and leave what doesn't, right? And maybe what doesn't resonate could be a little bit of insight of, ooh, maybe that's an area to explore. Maybe, if I were to dive deeper into if something sort of seemed a little bit of activating, it's an area of opportunity, potentially, if you'd like to look at it that way. And then something that has really helped to orient me into my life is really looking at life as though I'm the beneficiary of life, right? Rather than this victim mindset of life is happening to me and living in this sort of survival suffering. And when I've sort of reoriented my life into taking full radical responsibility for literally everything that comes into my field, how am I contributing to what I'm experiencing? And this is with openness and curiosity, not blame, not shame, not guilt, not to like point fingers. It really is, this essence that I learned from, I believe it's Neil Daniel Walsh. He wrote Conversations with God. This beautiful question to sit with that I sit with often when I have a certain challenge is, what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul? And it is so profound and so deep because if we're willing to embrace all challenges, right, as there is something for me to learn here, right? What does this have to do with the agenda of my soul, right? And embrace the human experience, embrace challenge, embrace the full spectrum of human emotions, and also holding both truth that, yeah, this is really difficult. And I know that there's some sort of learning lesson to be brought forth, that there is gold within what I'm experiencing. There is a message within the mess, right? And so I truly believe that when we're able to share this perspective of being the beneficiary of life, it really does sort of help shift into taking radical responsibility rather than feeling a victim and things are happening to me. And so just wanted to share that and offer that up. And so this is something that I also wanted to bring up because one of my teachers, Peter Crone, talks about this original abandonment wound, which creates disconnection from self. And also Gabor Mate talks a lot about this. Not, I don't know if he necessarily calls it the abandonment wound, but um, it's essentially we create or have this like unconscious agreement with our caretakers that I'll be who I think you want me to be in order to be loved, accepted, feel significant and important, safe, connected, right? And so think about it. When we're younger, we're taught and told what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, what's right, what's wrong, right? And this is how we learn, right? And so um, we tend to also learn, that maybe certain parts of us are too much, too wild, too shy, right? And we begin to disconnect from who we truly are and start to mold into a certain way of being because we think that's how we're going to gain a semblance of love or being accepted or to belong or to feel connected or to feel safe, right? And so this is just something to either like sit with or meditate on and see, oh wow, how have I been molded into this certain way of being in order to feel safe, in order to feel connected, right? And then Zach Bush talks about it, and he calls the abandonment wound, the original abandonment wound, as sort of the ego, the separation, the part of us which is the ego that believes it's separate from other, separate from nature, separate from the world, right? And so it creates this fear. And so I hold both truths. I see it both ways in terms of, yeah, both sort of like ways of seeing it and definitions. And so just wanted to invite that in and think about that sort of through this process. And so, blind spots. So, what is a blind spot? And it's an area of thinking, perception, language, behavior that we're unaware of. It's essentially beneath conscious awareness. And so why does that matter? Why would we want to uncover blind spots? Why would we want to know more about that? There are many, many, many reasons, but one, which I'm going to go into today, is because we all want certain results, right? We all want certain results in our life. And so how do we get results? And I'm going to go into I call this the cascade of creation that leads to results. So there are results in our life, whether they're results that we want or results that we don't want. So essentially, when I talk about life results, what I'm talking about are like fulfilling relationships or unfulfilling relationships. It could be health, feeling vibrant and radiant, or feeling burnt out, or having chronic stress, or certain disease. Relationship to self, either feeling like deeply connected or feeling deeply disconnected. Um, it could be around career too, career satisfaction or career dissatisfaction. So that's when I talk about results, that's sort of what I mean. So what happens before results? So there are certain actions, behaviors, or inactions, right? So the way we behave tends to lead to the results in our life. And so what contributes to the way we behave or our avoidant behaviors, right? Are sort of like inaction, procrastination, feeling stuck and blocked. So what happens before that? What contributes to that are our thoughts and our feelings, right? So we think and feel a certain way, which causes us to act or not act, which then again contributes to the results in our life. And so what is the genesis? What is, I would say, like I call it like the thought generator. And for me, based on what I know, is your perspective. And most of the time when it's something that is creating like confinement, constraint, suffocation, dissatisfaction, it's a certain perspective and lens that is unconscious. It's below conscious awareness. It's your subconscious, right? Um, what I what I've learned from my teacher Peter Crone, he calls it the you that you are for yourself, right? It's the lens in which you see yourself, which creates your identity. It's how your identity is formed. Also can be when it's sort of through the lens of separation, it can be also called the ego. So a lot of these are sort of synonymous. And so I'm going to start by giving an example, right, of a certain perspective. So if you remember, when I introduced myself in many of the ways of who I was not, right? These were subconscious programmings, and I truly thought that it was sort of, I was blind to them because it became so a part of who I was, right? My perspective. And so we're gonna go with it's not safe to be me, because that is one pretty significant, profound one that I find that really does contribute to lack of authenticity, lack of self-expression, because it contributes to really feeling, again, like there is something inherently wrong with you. And so I'm just going to go into that cascade and give some examples to see maybe if they any of you can relate to any of this. And so it's not safe to be me. Typically, and I'll just give an example of like what could start contributing to things like feeling it's not safe to be me. And it could be in school. Let's say you were bullied for something about you, whether it's like you had an accent and you were bullied for having an accent. It could have been you were bullied for having like a certain like type of hair, right? It was something about you that was like negative or seen as like wrong or um, like ugly, right? Ridiculed, but for like the shape of your body, right? The shape of my body is not acceptable. Or even let's just say you were a sensitive child and you fell and got hurt and you were ridiculed for your emotions, like you had big emotions and were told like not to cry or like what's wrong with you. So all of these could contribute to developing this perspective of it's not safe to be me, right? Which then leads to feelings of feeling like who you are is wrong or flawed. Again, there's the shame, like there's something wrong with you. It could lead to these feelings of unworthiness. So that's around like believing you don't deserve love or belonging or joy. Um, it could lead to feeling trapped, which then creates behavioral adaptations of like creating masks or stuck in certain roles that are truly not you, but you learn to mold into or morph into, right? What are some other ones? Some feelings like powerlessness, feeling like you're like stripped of agency or choice. What else? Feeling invisible. Like if you never really felt like seen, heard, or held in your experiences or felt misunderstood because maybe again going back to like you had big emotions and you didn't feel like you had that space to be you and express, right? Um, it wasn't essentially accepted. It wasn't that space wasn't held for you. And so feeling all these way, again, there's like hypervigilance, overwhelmed, feeling exhausted. And then these sort of thoughts and feelings. So then actually, I didn't really go into a lot of the thoughts, but the thoughts could be like, if I show who I really am, I'll be rejected, feeling like I have to hide certain parts of me, feeling like I can't speak up. So it's sort of like the suffocation of voice. Like my voice didn't matter. I know for me, something that did come up for me is like what I have to say doesn't matter, right? Like no one really cares what I have to say. And so right, it's these sort of like thoughts that um are generated from a certain perspective. And just I'm not saying just because you have these certain thoughts, they always track back to it's not safe to be me. There are many of these different perspectives. Okay, and so I'm just sharing just some potential thoughts and feelings that derive and sort of come out of this sort of perspective, oh, of it's not safe to be me. And so, what sort of actions, behaviors, or essentially avoidances could contribute to this perspective and these feelings, right? And so, one is people pleasing, right? If you don't feel accepted for who you fundamentally are, you know, this is one of the ways that people adapt is always saying yes when they truly want to say no, right? It's a sort of self-abandonment and molding yourself to be accepted. I'm just going to have a drink of water. Overachieving or perfectionism, so trying to earn safety through success or doing it all right or being perfect, right? I find this a lot if someone has a perspective that um, they're always doing something wrong, they made to feel that like they're always doing something wrong. Um, a way to cope is really gaining safety and some semblance of security and enoughness through always feeling like they want to like get it right or like be a success. And so another one is chameleon tendencies, right? To mold and conform to what you think someone wants you to be, behave, say, right? Another one is could be um, like caretaking, like really overextending yourself and feeling a sense of worthiness for taking care of others is one that is very, very, very common among women, especially. Another is just like wearing different masks. It's like not truly, pretending and wearing certain masks, and it's not really truly who you are, but you've learned these ways of being again to feel accepted, like you belong, connected, love, acceptance, right? Um, and so the results from this way of being is it's a prison that really shrinks life. It trades aliveness and joy for survival. It's like constantly acting from this place of fear rather than freedom, right? It's from like the ego rather than from true joy and freedom. And it really is a suffocation of expression. It's a suffocation of your authentic self. And so, Yeah, so this is sort of one of the many that leads to, again, unfulfilling life results, right? Of like the unfulfilling, disconnected relationships and career dissatisfaction, chronic stress, financial limitation, disconnection, cycles of sabotage, low self-worth, low self-esteem. And so let's see, this is just a chart that just sort of just shows the flow of, okay, this one perspective of it's not safe to be me, and the cascade of then the thoughts that could come up, the feelings that arise from it, the behaviors or avoidances that give rise, and then the life results. And so in the beginning, I shared quite a few that I had, right? And so the I'm a disappointment or I have no choice, that would essentially that could go up here. And then there that those all or I'm bad, those have their own cascade. Similar, right? There's a lot of overlap, but there is sort of unique like thoughts, feelings, behaviors around each. And so for me, this was a big one that had to do with my true self, my true authenticity of really feeling safe to be seen, heard. Um, yeah. And, like I said, once I sort of became aware of it and recognized that it's just not true, it really just helped to shift so much in my life. And so with all of these blind spots that I just went into, they're a perspective, right? They're not a truth. They're a perspective. Like it's not safe to be me was a perspective that was created based on my past events, and um, it just is not a truth. And so, one of the things that I just want to bring to light is that we all have a certain perspective, right? And so now I just want to talk about how perception and perspective creates our reality, right? I showed you that cascade of results, right? So I hope that you can begin to see how when we have a certain lens and perspective in which we view ourselves and the world, it gives rise to feelings, behaviors, actions, and results, right? And so I'm just going to share this maybe in another way, right, of how perception creates reality. And I'm just also going to do a time check. What time is it? Just to, I want to honor our time. Okay, wonderful. And so this, I did not create this. I honestly don't even know where I got it. So it is not mine. And I'm sorry I can't give proper credit for where I got this, but I got it off the internet somewhere. And so it's really just to show the two different perspectives of these two little drawings here, right? And so first, it's they're perceiving this bee in different ways, and their perception comes from past experiences, right? Through their senses, through their shaped by beliefs and experiences and conditioning and cultural background and the media and right, it's just so many things contribute to how we perceive ourselves and others and the world, right? I mean, as kids, we're just like massive sponges up into the age, I believe, of 7. It's like we're just constantly operating from the subconscious, taking so much in, and the subconscious remembers everything from our past. It is a massive, massive storage bank. Okay, it's incredible. And so our perception then shapes our perspective, right? The woman looking at the bee with the honey image and the love, it's her perspective is love. Like, wow, I look at this bee and her perspective is through love, right? And then the man that his perspective is one of fear and danger, right? And who's to say whose perspective is right? Neither of them are right. Are you right? They're both right because that is how they perceive the bee. That is their perspective. And so for me, once I was really able to see this and get this, it really helped have so much more compassion for myself, for others, because I really don't see things necessarily as right and wrong or this person, right? It's just for me, there could be so many different truths, right? I hold many different truths as being, this person, the way they see it, that's their truth, and the way I see it is my truth. And so, yeah, I just wanted to sort of share this in hopes to sort of kind of explain and sort of share that we all have our own unique perspective based on our perceptions, based on, all of this beliefs and experiences and conditioning and everyone who's sort of our caretakers, right? I'm going to pause. Does anyone have any questions or does anyone have anything to say? I would love to hear from anyone that feels called to share anything, whether this is landing, whether it resonates, whether you have a question. Okay, I will continue. Amazing. And so, ooh, I love this quote by Wayne Dyer. So, if you change the way you look at things, the way you perceive things, right, your perception, the things you look at change, your perspective, right? And so I just love this so much because, again, just giving the example of it's not safe to be me, like once I sort of changed that lens, it was if I was like in this prison, this confinement of like, it's not safe to be me. And that's the way I saw myself, right? Um, that it wasn't safe to be my authentic self, which created a lot of masking, pretending, molding to be someone who I truly wasn't, right? Um, and I began to shift out of that and free myself into this whole new world where recognizing, wow, what I've been doing for decades of my life, it really changed the way I yeah, it just completely changed the way my perspective of myself, my life, and then so much shifted as a result of that. And so just this, I find so much truth and beauty and resonance in this quote, and I love Wayne Dyer. How to bring awareness to blind spots. All right. So one, it's really awareness that you have a perspective that is contributing to the results in your life, whether they're the results that you desire or the results that you don't desire, right? And a lot of times, when there are things in our life that are deeply painful or activating, or we get triggered, right? Um, it's from my perspective, it's past hurt, it's past woundings being poked, okay? And so there are always opportunities to see where am I not free? Where is the opportunity here for me? Another one of my favorite quotes is by Peter Crone, and he says, "Life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free." And I, again, just find so much truth and resonance in that because, again, when we are activated by a certain person or situation, we're not necessarily in present moment. We're actually something from our past that we have not come complete with, let's just say, or we've not fully processed and integrated. It's being activated. Okay, so it's such a beautiful opportunity to lean in. Lean in. Where can I find more freedom? To, again, I was sort of talked about this, but looking at it is like life is your teacher. Allow these activations to guide you into an opportunity of freedom with curiosity, right? With wonder. Again, it's not about like, I want to dig deep in order to find who's to blame. No, it's dig deep in order to, with curiosity, with wonder, right? There's a certain energetic frequency when we're able to um, really view our circumstances in life through the eyes of a witness, like witnessing what is unfolding rather than in the energy of the problem. And yeah, I'll leave that one at that because I'll continue. Yes. And that sort of brings me to the importance of when something does feel activated, it's really important also to feel it and not distract, right? There are just these days are so many ways to distract, right? I don't even need to go into them, but like countless of ways, right? Especially our phone. Our phone is a huge way that we can distract and essentially yeah, not really truly feel what it is that we're feeling, whether it's through food, right? Whether it's through, any kind of like numbing and distraction. Because a lot of times we have not had an intimate relationship with our feelings, right? We weren't sort of taught that our feelings are okay and valid and they're safe to be felt, right? And so this has been such a process for me. I really did think I was feeling my feelings, until until I just have gone through the certain process, especially with connecting with my inner child, right? And feeling and identifying where sort of this hurt, the genesis of the hurt was. And typically an activation, if you're a human, um, a lot of tendency is to get wrapped up in the victim triangle. I don't know if anyone is familiar with it, but it's the sort of triangle that we can get wrapped up in of being a victim, a villain, or a hero in certain situations. And typically, that's what we do. We oscillate from these different sort of positions of being the victim or villainizing and even like villainizing ourselves or heroing and coming in and being the hero in situations. Um, and so bringing awareness to that is also just bringing awareness to your humanity because we all do it, right? And just noticing if when something is activating, am I oscillating between those sort of being victim, villain, or hero, or can I sort of zoom out and take more of a witness stance and just allow myself just to feel what I'm feeling and not necessarily um, yeah, needing to like point fingers or like figure out right away, like, what is this? Just time, space to just feel and just even identify, oh, what is it that I'm feeling? Where do I feel it in my body? This is huge. And then with that wonder, with that curiosity, okay, just digging deeper into it. What is this revealing about me? What past hurt is being activated? And just asking questions, if you're feeling, let's say, like unsafe, we'll go back to it's not safe to be me, or as though like you're not being heard. Is it true? Could it just be through this lens in which I'm viewing what's going on? Just keeping time of just being mindful of time. Um, yeah, is it true? And give yourself quiet time and space to listen, right? I truly believe we have all that we need within us. There's so much wisdom from within, and just in our society, and just there's again, like I said, just so many ways to distract and be busy and run away. And when you can actually take some time to be silent and go inward and truly ask for guidance, ask for assistance, ask yourself, what is it that I need to know? What is here for me, right? Again, that question too, what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul, is such a profound and powerful question. Okay. And listen to the wisdom, allow it to come through. It's quite profound when we ask, right? And a lot of times we will receive. And if it's really difficult, that's why people like me exist to really sort of help decode and help bring awareness to, um, you know, constraints and feeling trapped in these sort of results that are undesired. And so I'm just bringing to light a way you could do it on your own. And also, if you would like support, I'm here to help support. And so part of the process too, like I had mentioned, is really providing space for your inner child to feel seen, heard, held, witnessed, right? Because a lot of time it's, again, this quote comes from Peter Crone, but past hurt informs future fear. And so when we're getting activated, when we're getting, yeah, just like worked up about something, it's because this unresolved issue from the past, whether it's trauma, whether it's, again, just this like this moment in time that just felt too difficult to make sense of, and we haven't fully processed it, which is really still in our sphere. Can I just sit quietly and have a dialogue with my inner child, right? Help my inner child feel safe and seen and heard, and not abandon my inner child, not distract, not try to like shut them down or shut them up, right? Because a lot of times when we feel a certain way, it's a message from our body, okay? Yeah, it's these emotions, energy and motion, it's just communication from the body, okay? And a lot of us, myself included, when I was younger, was very conditioned to not feel safe with feelings and feeling big feelings and emotions. And so a huge part of what I do is really to more normalize the whole spectrum of feelings, right? Embrace the human experience in a soul aligned way, right? Embrace all aspects of it. Yeah, and then again, time to be quiet and reflect, whether that reflection is through journaling, whether that reflection, is through taking a walk in the woods, just finding your own ways to be silent and quiet and allow the wisdom that is within come through. Or if you're connected to spirit, the universe, allowing your guides and spirit and universe to contribute to, you know, um, sharing knowledge, sharing information, or sharing people, bringing people into your life to help. And so, again, the way I sort of see this process and the way it has just been um, in my experience is, again, revealing who you are not to truly come home to who you are, right? To connect to your true essence, your true brilliance, right? And I hope that you can take away just this metaphor and this memory of this diamond, because we are all unique and perfectly imperfect, right? That's what it's meant to be human, of embracing the journey and really leaning into the shadows, because I truly believe that when we do that, right, when we embrace our shadows, it's like there's so much gold on the other side of that when we can alchemize pain, into a joy and pleasure, right? And just really experience the full spectrum of what it's like to be human. And for me, that really is the process of feeling fully free to be your authentic self. And so a little recap. There is nothing wrong with you. How many times do I say that? Because I truly believe it. There's nothing to fix, there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to protect, there's nothing to defend, because you are whole and complete. And so, with that, any questions, lovely people?
Thank you, Raquel. That was
Oh,
excellent because I think that I know this is where I'm going, and I just had my a big birthday, and it's 10/10,
mm,
25. I mean, it's just such a profound time in our life, and it's just that we have to allow ourselves to forgive ourselves, to be open to change.
agreed.
And I'm just fine, and I put no agenda. I put no timelines on myself. But being single, I'm widowed, but I'm single. I'm single. And but it's and with everything that's been happening, it's allowing myself to give myself permission to ask people for help
Mm.
because people do want to help me. But, I've been so conditioned to doing things on my own to get things done or to heal myself. And, and that's not what we're meant to be doing. So
Thank you for
that's something that I'm just saying to myself, I have to open myself up and ask for help.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for sharing that. And I can very much relate, right? I had mentioned one of sort of my ways of being was it's all up to me, right? And feeling like I had to do things on my own. And it was hard for me to receive until I recognized, wow, it's coming from, yeah, just not feeling supported and then feeling like, oh, wow, it's all up to me. And once I opened up myself to the support of the universe, the support of others, it really completely shifted the trajectory of my life. So thank you for sharing that and being open and honest. And it's something that many of us can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And it's all up here.
Yeah, totally. Yes. And that's what I find incredible. And that's why, I've dedicated my life to predominantly like work around like perspective in the mind because I find that it really does contribute to that cascade of, how we feel and then the physical manifestations in our body are a reflection of what is going on up here, right? And I truly believe that. And so for me, it is the place to start, right? And again, that's just my point of view and my perspective, but I truly believe it's really hard to have true health when you haven't sort of freed your mind. Yeah. And yeah, I also take that from my teacher, Peter Crone. But
Your
his,
home and everything else.
yeah.
Because I just picked up my living, my trust. I just finally put everything in order. If something happens to me tomorrow, that's okay. I'm all set. I'm now free.
Yeah.
But the burden that it put in my backpack, that I carried all this unnecessary stuff in my backpack, and now it's just a purse, a
Mm.
purse backpack that has nothing in it, ready
Yeah.
to ready to be filled up again.
Well, thank you, Hannah. A pleasure. I'm so just thrilled and honored that you joined. Thank you. And I'm actually going to put my information in the chat. So if anyone wants to connect, I'm going to put my information in the chat. And also just wanted to share until the end of October, if anyone is interested in reaching out and looking into support, I'm offering 20% off one-on-one support until the end of October. And so that I typically do not offer discounts like that. And so I just wanted to extend that for the next few weeks.
Great.
So that is there. And so I'll just, for those who are not live, you can visit me at raqueldarowe.com, RAQUEL, Darowe, DAROWE.com to schedule a discovery call. You can email me at raquel@raqueldarowe.com. Also, that is my email address. I am in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I have an office in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and I also offer sessions via Zoom too. So live in my office or via Zoom. And it is 4:59. So again, a pleasure to be with all of you. Hannah, thank you for your share. I really value that and appreciate that. And for the next minute, or is there anything else?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, okay.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm just going to play a song because I just love music for the next minute.